Baltimore is home to you. You know more. Know more about the NFL stuff than anyone I know. But if there's a team or a couple of teams that you have complete ties into, it's the Ravens. I felt like they were given second and third life last night from the Patriots and still couldn't get over the hump. What's the status of this team?
They're still kind of in between to me. Last year I know a lot was made of their injuries, and rightfully so, but that was not a very good football team even before Suggs and Flacco and Steve Smith and everybody else went down. So I didn't think health alone was going to project them back to the top of the AFC where they're accustomed to being. They have a very good defense, but it's by no means infallible and impervious in the pass rush with older guys like Suggs and Dumerville's a little hit or miss. And Weddle's been a big signing. But when Jimmy Smith, their one true cover corner, goes down, they pretty much collapse. It happened against the Jets. He bottled up Odell Beckham for the first half of the game. He left at halftime with a concussion. Beckham absolutely ran wild and won the game in the second half. And when Jimmy Smith's out, that defense becomes much more average. And so you combine all those factors and a Hall of Fame quarterback playing like a Hall of Fame quarterback at home in December in Foxborough, where he never loses, and the missed the blocked field goal, the safety, all that stuff, that makes a tough gig that much tougher. So I think the Ravens are like most of the league. They're in that middle pack. With the right breaks, you win 9 or 10 and get in the playoffs. If it goes the other way, you're probably 500. I thought they'd be a 500 team. I thought Pittsburgh would run away with that division, and Pittsburgh looks like the best team in that division, but they haven't run away. And They lost to Miami, and they had some slip-ups. And the reality for the Ravens is if they run the table, which would include a win at Pittsburgh, they're the AFC North champs, and they're hosting a playoff game.
It's such a strange year. Jason La Canfora joining us in the Doug Gottlieb show. You mentioned the blocked field goal. We've seen this several times this year, jumping over the center. As long as you don't touch the center, it's a legal play. And, of course, extra points have become more important and more difficult due to the rule change going back to last year. So what adjustments do you think the offenses are going to make? Because this is the first time people have been able to pull off the jump over the center trick and not hit the center with pretty good repetition.
Yeah, it's kind of been a growing trend. Remember, they used to do it with Jamie Collins there when they still had him.
Uh-huh.
They since traded him to Cleveland. I've seen, I think, Cam Chancellor or maybe Bobby Wagner, some guys in Seattle pull it off from time to time. I don't know if you have to be a spotter more because especially last night, I don't think Shea McClellan's quite the athlete of some of those other guys. He got a serious running start. It looked like he was like 8-9 yards full sprint, and he timed it perfectly. I don't know if someone spots that and, there's a sign for the center to raise up or snap it sooner and raise up to try to draw the flag. I don't know. I think it's a fun football play, though. And, the competition committee's tweaked it a little bit. I hope it doesn't go away. It doesn't seem to be injury-provoking, and it's obviously exciting, and it's added another layer of intrigue into special teams, which has kind of become one of the subplots of this season with, the extra point now becoming a football play and everything else.
I love it. I think the change is you put another blocker back in the offensive backfield, and if a guy jumps over the center, then you just crush him because he's jumping over the center, he's coming in your backfield, you can block him, and I think that would be the end of that.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. It's such a bang-bang play. If you do that and the guy feigns like he's going to do it, you know what I mean, but then stops, you might have a hole somewhere else. It'd be cool to see. Look, Harbaugh and Belichick are both former special teams masterminds, so it would be cool to see a chess match develop like that.
I saw Hester got cut today. After returning
that's a long time coming.
yeah. He's done, right? Like he's got the juice is gone.
Yeah, he's a guy who had such amazing athleticism. He was an athlete among athletes for so many years. So you develop instincts where you're able to sort of take chances and just do things outside the box because you're going to be able to cut where they can't get you. You're going to be able to run away from people, and that's not there anymore. And when you couple that with what they really thought they were getting at a bare minimum, which is just know when to catch the ball and when not to. Just don't, even if you're not a plus anymore, just don't be a minus because their return games have been a minus with fumbles, guys getting negative yardage. It's been ugly. And really, he's had issues fielding balls pretty much all season. So, this could have happened 3 or 4 weeks ago, and it wouldn't have been a surprise. Coming off last night where that leading to a safety. And they've got a kid, Campanaro, a local Maryland kid, a kid from this state, who has performed well for them at times, has had 100-yard receiving games, but is always hurt. He got hurt in camp. He's been back on the practice squad for a few weeks. He'll take over their return duties.
Jason La Canfora joining us, CBS NFL Insider. Doug Gottlieb Show, CBS Sports Radio, and you're on CBS Sports Network. All right, here's what I started with the Patriots. I know they're flawed, right? No Gronk, no Amendola for now. And I think the Jamie Collins trade, I think that was a mistake just because you need his versatility and coverage. All that said, last night, in spite shooting themselves in the foot repeatedly in the second half, or even, and despite the Tom Brady interception in the red zone at the end of the first half, they're still able to beat the Ravens at home. That to me is because they have Brady, because they have Belichick, because they know who they are, and that if anything, even when they don't play well in the second half, shows that they're the championship caliber team as opposed to everyone else in the AFC who has the same notable flaws without the experience.
Yeah, I mean, I would tend to agree. The problem for them would be, I still think if you had to go to Oakland, if you had to go to the black hole against a team that can score quickly and score in bunches and get you in a boat race, like Baltimore's so limited offensively that, especially if the Ravens fall behind early against a team like that, they're cooked. But if New England is at Oakland and Derek Carr on the first drive has an 80-yard bomb, I don't know. You know what I mean? That's the kind of matchup that I think would hurt them. A slugfest with Seattle and some of these other potential NFC teams. Yeah, I mean, look, it's hard for me to pick. Who's picking against Brady and Belichick, right? I mean, very rarely do you do it. And yes, among all the flawed teams, are they maybe the least flawed or the most able to overcome their flaws because of their incredible football IQ? Sure.
Jason La Canfora joining us on CBS Sports Radio, which brings us to the Dallas Cowboys. I know you've heard Jerry Jones' comments by now, right? Look, my take on it is look, a rookie's never won a Super Bowl. You watch Dak when things aren't perfect, when the pocket's not clean, he looks at times like a rookie. He looks a little bit inaccurate, a little bit confused. And I still think Romo gives them the best possible opportunity to win a Super Bowl. Is that what Jerry's saying, or is Jerry just being Jerry?
Oh, I think, he's left his door a little bit ajar, and I think he's played that game at several times this year. He's paid Tony Romo $127 million in his career, and he's paying him $18 million a year now to play football, not to hold a clipboard. And any sort of sustained malaise was going to bring this back bubbling up. And for 2 weeks now, they've got 3 offensive touchdowns total. One came when Minnesota handed them the ball at the 8-yard line off a botched return. And by I'm going over the game books. I'm working on a column right now. I see 29 times the last 2 weeks where Prescott had the ball in his hand on third down. Mm-hmm. That's either a drop back or him holding the ball, scrambling a design run or whatever. I have them converting 2 times out of 29.
Yeah.
That's
third down's the most important down in the NFL, and they can't convert on. Okay, so let me just ask you this. They played Tampa, which it's crazy to say, like, Tampa has not only been much better this year, but look what they did to Drew Brees this past weekend. Like, look at what they've been doing recently defensively. They've been really good. So it's in prime time against Tampa. Jerry said, like, well, he kind of gave the old Supreme Court definition of pornography. You know it when you see it. Like, do you think we could legitimately see him this weekend?
No, I don't know about this one. No, I think Dak Prescott has this game. I mean, unless we're talking something horrific. But no, but I do think that if this were to continue for a third week and you start looking at the schedule, right? If you went to Romo, you wouldn't want to do it the way the Peyton Manning thing went down last year, like in the middle of week 17, right? I mean, this guy hasn't played a regular season game in over a year. I think you would want to do it in week 16 or 17 to give him a full game, and then you've got the bye. In all likelihood, and then off you go. So, no, I think it's a very real again, look, if this is all contingent on Prescott not, playing like he has. If Prescott plays like he did the first 11 weeks, then it's a moot point.